We are going to have a presentation on the what and how on green construction technology, and I'm Yu Pui Ho, and here is our content. Let me introduce what is green construction technology, which refers to the measures that lessen the energy consumption. According to some statistic, the global building sector is responsible for 30% of final energy consumption, and building construction uses 40% of raw materials. So due to those two reasons, we have to use the green construction technology to minimize the environmental impacts and to maintain a sustainable development in construction sector. And we will divide in 3 parts and explain in details.
I'm Lai Haosheng and I will talk about the energy saving technology. The HVAC is a method to use to control heating, ventilation, and air conditions and provide a suitable temperature to let fresh outdoor air getting into the indoor environment so that contaminants can be diluted. And the diagram below has shown the cool air coming from the 4 levels that soon warms and raise and carry out together with the contaminants. And a green roof is to have a vegetated space that contains living plants that grow on its surface, and the function is to minimize the environmental harm. And the benefit is to maintain a certain temperature and also to reduce sound pollutions, and more important, it helps to provide a green leisure and open space inside the cities. And green lighting is actually contribute for about 20 to 40% of the total energy consumption. So how can we do to reduce it? We can actually use the LED light, which helps to reduce the energy consumptions by about 5%, and it also have a longer life for about 9 to 10 times compared to the traditional light. For the low emittance glass, it actually helps to reduce the heat loss by reflecting most of the reflected radiations by keeping at the sunlight at the same time, and it helps to reflect the harmful substance outdoor.
For green building material, there is an assessment called BEAM Plus to offer independent assessments of building sustainability performance, and the science aspect of BEAM Plus focuses on the use of green building materials. For reuse of building materials, we normally use of major elements of existing buildings as well as the building materials from demolition process. It will reduce the rate of transport to the landfill and conserve the natural resources to achieve the sustainability. For recycling of building materials, we normally talk about the rapidly renewable materials that are natural, non-petroleum-based building materials that have harvest cycles under 10 years. Flooring, panels, fittings, and insulations are the 4 common parts using the rapidly renewable materials according to BEAM Plus requirements. And bamboo, linoleum, cork, and pine are the most commonly used rapidly renewable materials, and it helps reduce the soil erosion and reduce the rate of biodiversity loss. Prefabrication is a technology which assembling the components of a structure in a factory and transporting the completed components to the construction site for installations, doors, stairs, window walls, and even some entire small buildings are the common building elements that can be prefabricated. Prefabrication helps shorten the period of installation, so it helps reducing the impacts on noise, dust, as well as the site traffic. It also helps lowering the possibility of schedule delays.
So let's talk about how and why we have to have a sustainable site and urban planning. So a sustainable site refers to have the least environmental impact while still meeting the client's requirement and allowing future generations to meet their own demand. And the first way we can is to considering the habitation conservation. It is a key to create a green construction. Considerable amount of time is necessary to rebuild the ecosystem once it is damaged. Expanding urban area and reclamation will also endanger the wildlife and the survival of some species, which leads to launching a nature conservation policy. It is used to define the representative system of a protective area for the conservation of biological diversity. and to design the preventive measure, and also a survey of the site-wide evaluation is also necessary. The second part is to consider the geographic condition. Sustainable site planning begins with the evaluation of developing a site. The location of the site affects how the development of the construction site to become renewable. Analysis and assessment of site characteristic is required. Apart from that, the site location also affects the transportation or the resources required during process.
For the case study, we will look into the Diamond Hill Crematorium in Hong Kong first, and it was completed in 2009 and it was awarded in 2009 and 2010 due to its green features. For energy saving, it used the natural lighting from skylights and slit windows to reduce use of lightings to conserve the electrical energy. It also makes use of green roofs to lower the temperature of the roof surface and the air conditioning loads of the hall. The podium is richly landscaped with trees and climbers, which provides a good landscape and visual effects to the buildings. And for air quality control, it makes use of fuel gas filtering system. It removes the particles and harmful substances as well as some unburned hydrocarbons, which will emit to the environment to achieve the air quality control.
I will talk about the case in China about the Johnson Control headquarters in Shanghai. The building has received 3-star LEED Platinum certification and is also the first office building in China that received IFC Edge certification. So what is so special about this building? It has a primary filters which helps to filter out the PM2.5 concentrations and also to absorb the carbon dioxide. And there are also solar PV panels that helps to collect sun's energy that used to charge electric vehicles and also other mechanical loads. And there are also grey water recycling systems that collect the waters to flush the waters, and it also saves about 878,000 gallons of waters for Johnson Control each year. And they also have the automatic blind systems and shade systems, which helps to automatically collect certain light penetrations within the space depending on whether the sun is in the sky and to provide sufficient lighting for the building. And this is what the Johnson Controls helps to ensure is comfortable for the applicants and also to keep the building energy efficient.
So let's talk about the One Angel Square located at England. It has achieved one of the highest ever score because of its innovative design features. The building adopts double skin facade design to facilitate airflow in the cavity. During winter, the design uses solar rays to heat the air in the cavity. The air cavity also works as a thermal insulator. The secondly is this building is to design as a passive solar building. The open atrium faces south to collect solar energy from the sun. In the winter, this will be closed in order to retain warm air. The third feature is that the construction site of the One Angel Square is invaded by a Japanese plant. The company decided to work with the subcontractor to ensure the building process is free of rhizomes, so to minimize the spread of these invasive species. So that's the end of our presentation. Thank you.